the light, something that we all want and all need. It's very hard to find life where there's no light. And this happens in the spiritual realm as well. We need to be aware of the people that we're mixing with. Now, people of the dark, yeah, they're going to do the right thing. They're going to love the people that they care about, all this sort of thing. But ultimately, they're not going to be in order. And that bend towards disorder is what will bring you undone as it's brought them undone. There'll just be that edge where there's enough missing for the relationship to be toxic. And toxic relationships, as we know, cause trauma and abuse. And there might even not even be a word said. But underneath there's going to be an element of hostility, a tend towards unresolved, only enough resolve to keep you involved. But ultimately a dissatisfaction within the relationship. And this is what you don't want. Righto, mate, come on, time to run. This is what you don't want. You want a complete, thorough, healthy relationship that's going to enable you to have at least peace. You see, the toxicities of relationships take away peace. And without peace, you're heading towards trauma. One trauma of one kind or another. There's no doubt about it. People will use passive aggressive behavior to dominate a relationship. Come on. And they'll use the passive aggressive behavior. Come on, mate. Here he comes. To manipulate you and control you. This could be done by way of silence. See, silence is one of the big perpetrators of peace. Because silence leaves you guessing unless you know how to understand it. If you can put together why the silence is and how it got there, then I always say to these passive-aggressive women, they don't think you know they're passive-aggressive, but when you know, everything changes because you're aware of what they're going to do. You know what they're going to do. They're going to go silent. They're not going to resolve anything. They're not going to fix anything. They're not going to talk about anything. They're just going to hide everything. Everything's hidden. What's that equal? The dark. These people are dark, dead. Come on, mate, up here, please. That's what passive aggressiveness is. Come on, mate. Quick. It's about darkness. It's about keeping you in the dark. But that becomes complicated for the passive aggressive person when you're a person of the light. Because they don't understand how you can read what's not said and what's not seen. They can't comprehend, how does this person know what's going on? And of course, that leaves them in confusion. Now, anything like this in the life of a person of the dark is going to make them look outside the relationship. They're going to start looking outside the relationship for someone else that they can deceive. because that's where they get their satisfaction, through their abuse. And if they realize that you're not buying into their abuse, you're just saying, oh yeah, righto, nice try with that, they realize in your quietness that you're on top of it, that causes a tremendous amount of confusion for that person, because they're used to getting their way through their abuse. And when you have enough light to light up the darkness without you saying anything, it's a war without words. The light will always win, because the person in the darkness is going backwards, they're staying infantile, while you're going forwards. You're learning discernment and how to overcome these people that don't want to walk in the light. See, light and darkness is an everyday thing, isn't it? We got a certain amount of light during the day and then a certain amount of darkness during the night. And if you know how to discern light and darkness in life with people, then you're living life. You're living a proper balanced life, because you know how to read light and you know how to read darkness, which means you really can't be harmed. If you are manipulated or controlled, it's only going to be to a certain extent. But I find it amazing when you meet these women and they're in complete darkness with their children. They've allowed their maternal bond to completely overtake their rationale. And you'll see them getting sponged on, used, they'll be enmeshed, and you'll just be a tag on, because it's gone from a parent-child relationship to an actual domestic home functioning relationship with these adult people. And if you don't believe me, get into a relationship with one of these women. They're living out a surrogate life. There's no boundaries. The mother will be strung along. Then someone like yourself will come along, or the father, and then someone like yourself will come along, and you'll be the one that's going to cause all the trouble, because you're disrupting the supply chain, the emotional supply chain. Come on, mate, please. He's eating grass. Come on, dogs don't eat grass, Hank. Quick, get up out of it. Go. Dogs don't eat grass. And people shouldn't walk in the darkness. Now we just got a smoker pull up with his fucking pollution. Oh dear. You know, you've got all this life, right in front of us, all this life, and people still have to sit there and destroy themselves. Make the effort to walk in the light. There's a passage in the Bible that says, if we walk in the light as Jesus or God the Father is in the light, we have fellowship with one another, and the blood of Jesus Christ, his Son, cleanses us from all sin. You can have a clear conscience. You can walk on a daily basis away from the dark if you walk in the light. And if you're around people that don't want to walk in the light, these ones that are hurting themselves and harming themselves passively, they don't expect anyone to say anything or do anything, you'll go down eventually with them.